It's like Podcastapalooza up in here.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be wild.
I'll be honest, man. I'm surprised we made it to 50. Welcome to the 50th episode.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Team Morale Podcast, where we do our three favorite things: talk a little bit of booze, a little bit of beer, and a whole lot of basketball. Ian the Tall Guy back with you again for episode number 50.
The 50th special Podcastapalooza episode. Are you ready, man?
Dude, I am so psyched. We have a jam-packed episode for you guys today. We're bringing in all the members of Team Morale. We're all going to be on this podcast, and we are just going to be talking all sorts of basketball today.
Yeah, we are bringing in all of the fraternity members of Team Morale. We are going to be going over basketball stuff. We have a lot of guests coming up.
Yeah, we're going to be joined by Grill Daddy B, Professor Tom, Producer Jay, ASM Edison, and Big Mike, all having their own segments on this podcast. And we're going to be talking a really cool topic. It's bid season.
It is. It's officially bid season for all you frat boys and girls out there. We are extending our bids of who we think would be the best members of Team Morale out there in the NBA. And every member of the current Team Morale gets one invitation.
So yeah, each of us will be coming up with a player that we think embodies Team Morale and just kind of vibes with us. And it'd be fun to, have on the pod. Not that they would ever be on the pod, but maybe one day they'll be on. But
oh, definitely.
But yes, that's what we're doing today. We've got the 50th episode extravaganza, a lot of moving parts in this one, but it's a jam-packed fun episode.
I'll be honest, man. I'm surprised we made it to 50. All the haters out there have been asking us to leave all the time, but no, we are still here. You cannot get rid of us.
No, we are cockroaches and we cannot die, and we will continue making content even if no one listens, but some of you do, and I'm proud of our listeners.
Thank you to our listeners. Shout out to you guys.
Yeah,
you're the real MVPs.
This is why we do this. We love that you guys listen. We love that you guys enjoy our content, and it's fun just, shooting the shit, drinking some booze, and talking basketball.
Yeah, when we originally started this, it was like, well, this is what we do anyways. We just sit around, drink whiskey, and talk basketball. Let's record ourselves doing it and see what happens. And it's been a very fun journey. It's cool that we've made it all the way to episode 50. And shout out to all the fans and shout out to the other members of Team Morale.
Absolutely. I actually went back and listened to our first ever podcast.
Oh, how good was it?
And the amount that the podcast has grown, the way that you and I banter and talk back and forth is better. Our whiskey palate has grown significantly. That being said, today's whiskey is a fun one.
Oh, yes. I didn't even get to my before we do. So before we do, we are going to talk about the whiskey that we're drinking today. It's a bit of a homage to what our very first episode was, which was normal TX whiskey.
Yeah, they're generic whiskey.
Yes, they're generic whiskey. This is their special bottle whiskey. And I didn't realize they actually have several different special bottles where different kind of barrels. One actually came in like a port barrel. One was like a cherry barrel. One was a single barrel. The one that I picked out for us is the one with the most alcohol in it.
Dear God.
Are you ready?
Yes.
So this is Texas straight bourbon whiskey, and this is the barrel proof stuff. So barrel proof basically means that they didn't filter it at all. This is from their website. This is the Texas barrel proof bourbon. This is our bourbon right from the barrel, uncut and unfiltered, so that you can experience the flavors of our Texas ingredients barrel aged in their purest form. It's unfiltered. No carbon or chill filtration is used, so the flavors are in their most concentrated form. Uncut. Water is not used to dilute the bourbon before we bottle it. Harvest. Each batch will have a unique harvest date to denote the month, year the barrel was harvested. And the proof, every batch will have a very slightly unique proof based on the precise time the barrel was harvested. Now, they have 4 different batches.
Okay.
We are drinking from batch 3, which was harvested on July 20th. This aged inside of its barrel for 7 years, and it is 126.24 proof.
Wow. So basically, when you say it's straight from the barrel, literally they just pour it out of the barrel into the bottle and give it to people.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like if you went to TX Distillery and we're doing the special behind the scenes tour. Sometimes they take the syringes and like dip it into the barrels and like suck it up and like just give you some right from the barrel. That's pretty much what this is.
That's incredible. And it's going to be fun. We'll talk taste like always a little bit later. We'll break into the taste a little bit more, but an homage to our first episode. We're stepping it up from their regular whiskey and going with TX, the first whiskey that we had on the podcast, their better version, because this is the 50th episode. And with that being said, let's take a jump over to our first guest that we're going to be talking about who they're bringing into Team Morale.
Yeah, let's do it.
And now we welcome Professor Tom onto the podcast. What's going on, Tom?
Good. Just grinding away these days. Living in Dallas now, living the dream.
That's right. You got a new job, right?
Yeah, new job started last week, and I'm just in training. It's going great.
Oh, good for you, buddy.
But always time for some basketball. And as a proud member of Team Morale, Tom is back with us again for the 50th episode extravaganza. Tom, mainly known on Team Morale for his very in-depth mock drafts that he does with the tall guy, but he pops in and out of the podcast a lot, and we're happy to have him on again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you're our
podcast.
Yeah, you're our college basketball extraordinaire.
That's right. Season's coming up, and yikes, never mind. We're still in August. We got to stall like 3 months or so till I'm back in business here. So
honestly, not too bad though.
Yeah.
But
summer league right now, watching my guys, that I watched in college, sort of trying to earn their spot in the pros. With the guards looking great on the Pistons.
All right, Tom. Well, you are the first person to extend a bid for Team Morale, where it's bid season. So you're the first person to extend your bid. Who are you extending your bid to?
Well, so I'll go through my process first because there's a lot that went into this.
Yeah.
So first off, I started off with my two main bases, which is the Pistons and Duke, and it was tough because I wanted to pick someone from there, but there just wasn't quite anyone that picked the vibe either from the Stones or the current Duke players. And then I had other guys that were on my list, but they're fan favorites of other guys in Team Morale. So I thought that's probably not a good vote either to I don't want to cuck someone of their guy by accident. So after a lot of thought and deliberation, this might be some recency bias, but I'm going with Giannis.
Giannis. Okay. I love it.
You may have heard of him. He's kind of a big deal right now. The basketball circle. He may have just won the NBA championship about a month ago. And I just, I love his, he has the morale vibes that I need. He's just chilling in Milwaukee. He doesn't complain. He lives in Milwaukee and doesn't complain. That sounds impossible to do. He has pretty solid talent. They aren't like big name stars, just, Milton and Drew Holiday. He has iffy coaching. He's like, you know what? I'll just make it work. This is just my vibe. I don't want to cause any trouble. I just want to go out and ball every night. And he always does that. So I gotta go with Giannis here.
I have one of my favorite Giannis's stories ever. He was doing an interview, and this was back a couple years ago when Fortnite was a big thing. And he's doing an interview, and his girlfriend is standing next to him at the time. And the reporter goes "Hey Giannis, do you play Fortnite?" And he goes, No, I don't play Fortnite, but I do foreplay at night. And his girlfriend goes, Giannis, and smacks him.
So that was actually during an Instagram live story.
Oh,
he's on his Instagram live. And yeah, he does that exact same thing. It's like, you play Fortnite? He's like, no, I foreplay at night. And his girlfriend gets all pissed off at him. That is total Team Morale vibes. I love that. Also, to revisit earlier how you got to it, doesn't totally surprise me that the Duke boys don't match our Team Morale vibes a little bit.
I couldn't even I was looking at the list. I couldn't even think of who's the best one on that list. It's not Kyrie or I don't know. Maybe Tatum in a couple of years. I couldn't do it. There's no one that stood out to me. I love them all, but actually, it's probably a Redick, but Redick's too old. He's not really in his prime anymore. So I feel like his Team Morale era has passed by. We need someone a little younger, some more in their prime. So,
well, you made a great pick, Giannis. Not only a chill guy and a fun guy to have around, but also a pretty damn good basketball player. Probably, if not the best player not from America, he's definitely in the top 3, probably top 2. Might be the best foreign-born player in the NBA, an absolute stud, 2-time MVP, DPOY, now finals champ and a finals MVP, put on one of the greatest finals performances I've ever seen. Very, very, very talented player, and definitely just now entering his prime.
Yeah, dude, he might surpass the greatest European player of all time and start entering the greatest player of all time circles by the end of his career. You never know. He's got look at his resume at 26 years old. I'm
Next
20.
couple of years.
I've done nothing with my life.
But yes, Tom, thank you for joining the podcast. Thank you for lending your insight, and thank you for giving a bid to the first, or giving out the first bid to that Team Morale has to give out, and it's going to Giannis.
I honestly
I'm
love it.
honored.
I think he could be the MVP.
I just hope that he accepts it. So we'll send it out. We'll wait and see.
We'll send our bid out. We're gonna recruit him hard. We're gonna recruit him hard, but it's hard
Send
to pull
the
him from
blitz.
Milwaukee.
It's like the new college thing that you can get paid. All the companies like going
Yeah.
after the top players.
Yeah, this is our NIL.
We'll sponsor you, Giannis. You throw a Team
I'm sure
Morale.
he needs it.
He's rocking the Team Morale t-shirts in 3 days.
All right, Tom. Well, thank you for joining us. We have a lot more to get through to on the episode today. Coming up next, we've got Grill Daddy B and his pick on who he's given his bid to.
And next on the podcast, we got our good buddy Grill Daddy B, Brandon. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
What's going on, everybody?
So I hear you're stuck in SoCal right now.
Yeah, I know. Poor me, right? Yeah, I was supposed to get a flight this afternoon, and there was some weather in the DFW area, and so I had luckily I was flexible with my plans, so I am able to get out Thursday, which it should be better, but just get to chill in Chino Hills, California, home of the Brawl Brothers,
So I got to ask, are the Ball brothers on your list of who you're giving your bid out to the Team Morale fraternity?
They are not. I would love to have Lonzo join our group, though. He's a super great guy. I know a couple of guys from my high school that played with him in all-star games and AAU and stuff, and he's a great dude. I'm glad he got the bag this offseason.
I would love to have Lonzo, but I don't know about his little brother. He's a bit of a shithead from what I hear. He doesn't get the legacy bid.
Mitch,
You just find any opportunity you can to jab LaMelo, man. Any
Mitch's
opportunity.
feud with LaMelo might be the longest running gag on this podcast.
I want you to meet him so badly, Mitch.
I went back and watched or listened to like the first podcast we did, and one of the first things Mitch said was like, "LaMelo Ball is a punk."
Yeah, that
And
was
I
like
won't back down from that.
That was my first hot take ever on the podcast, I stand by
Which
it.
is funny because then he went into saying how LaMelo has the tools to being a good NBA player, but then he just finished, but he's a punk and I don't like him.
Hey, that's
It's a weird hill to die on,
man. Okay, so Brandon, who was your thought process of who you wanted to give the bid to?
So I went through just a list of NBA teams, and I was thinking like, man, we need like somebody that that can be like the life of the party and that can like really keep up the vibe of team morale. So it can't be somebody super boring. I joked with Kawhi because he's a fun guy and he loves to play the game of basketball. But yeah, he didn't make my list. But I had Tom, of course, he thinks amazingly, and had Giannis, who was on my list as well. So I guess that one got taken. And we'll get to some more later on in the podcast. But the main one that I have to join the Team Morale fraternity, as it were, is Lou Williams.
Oh,
Lemon pepper Lou.
Sweet.
And of all, Grill Daddy B's got to get the food connoisseur in there, right? Yeah, and he's a total foodie. I was mentioning earlier that maybe it's just limited to strip clubs, or maybe he's just this insane Yelp guy that like he goes on these road trips and on each city he goes, oh, we're in Sacramento to play the Kings. What's the best pizza place? Or I don't know. Who knows? Strip club wings, I guess.
Drive-ins and dives, but for strip clubs, hosted by Lou Williams.
That's some FXX stuff.
As he just goes in and he's in the back kitchen, like what is it, Guy Fieri?
Yeah,
just learning how.
Lou needs to go. He needs to go on Hot Ones. Have you guys seen Hot Ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should go on there like Shaq did and had to like chug the gallon of milk. But the Lou will. So he's a food connoisseur. He's definitely a leader, which I don't know if the Team Morale podcast really needs like a leader. I mean, you guys are our leaders. But Lou will can tag along as well. He, his whole thing is he doesn't start games, but he finishes them. So maybe you guys get the ball rolling, and then Lou will just comes right in and gets us going.
I like it.
Lou Will, the finisher. I'm about that.
Take that.
He's a finisher.
As it is.
And he's a
Every good
he's
friend
a
needs a partier, and that will be Lou Will for us.
fair enough. And
Makes sense.
and he's laid back too. He's like a laid back guy. He's pretty chill, pretty quiet. But he makes himself known when he needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And that being said, he is a baller on the court. I mean, probably will go down as one of the best bench players in NBA history, if not the best player, a bench player in NBA history, and countless Six Man of the Year's awards, an absolute bucket off the bench. They call him the walking bucket for a reason, and just is now back at home in Atlanta and it's kind of embraced like the vet role now.
Yeah. Did you see the report that came out earlier this year about how he has not made over $10 million in a single season of his career?
That's crazy.
He's a he's a multi Six Man of the Year guy, and he's never made more than 10 mil. He's never made double digit mil in a
Do
single
teams not really pay like six men? Is that not a thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think he
guess
just
not.
one of those guys that got unlucky. He didn't get a good off season.
Yeah.
I guess strip club wings are cheap. So
At least strip club things are cheap.
Yeah, he'll be able to pay those off. He'll be fine.
Absolute stud on the court, a super fun guy, obviously off the court, a wild card member in the team morale. Brandon, did you have anyone else that you thought?
Sure. Sometimes you need a wild card in the group, and I will. And you did say a walking bucket. I will quote Reggie Miller calls him a professional scorer, and that's one of my favorites.
Not basketball player, he's a professional scorer.
Some honorable mentions. I had Shaq on there. Another interesting one is Enes Kanter,
Oh,
which I
Striking
don't
hard.
want to I don't want to steal anyone's thunder, but yeah, he's obviously a super goofy guy on social media and everything. He enjoys his music. He loves his music. Didn't he like crash a Drake concert just out of nowhere? Just like walked out there. And of course he's a former WWE champion. I mean, he's got the belt. He can just carry that thing around. I mean, if the Team Morale frat like went somewhere to wherever, a club or Vegas, wherever, he can just rock this belt. You can be like, yeah, this is ours, man.
He's the owner of the WWE belt. He's just a guy that's just happy to be here. He's just super happy to like not be in Turkey and just be hanging out in America and just got a big fat smile on his face all the time about it. That is a super happy guy. I love Enes
We are
Kanter.
assembling quite the squad with Lou Will, Enes Kanter, and Giannis so far getting the bids. That is quite the
squad.
eclectic group. If we were rolling Vegas with us three, the Professor Tom and ASM Edison and producer Jay, along with Giannis, Enes Kanter, and Lou Will.
Oh yeah,
That's just a wild thing.
we're gonna have a great time.
All right. Anyways, Brandon, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you guys jumping on, and we definitely love the pick of Lou Will and then Enes Kanter as your secondary.
It's my honorable mention. Sure. Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Happy 50th.
Oh, thanks, man. We appreciate it.
Of course.
And now we welcome in yet another member of Team Morale, Big Mike, joining the pod today on the 50th episode extravaganza. Welcome, Big Mike.
What's up, guys? Glad to be back.
Hey, always happy to have you on. So we are in the Team Morale fraternity, us guys, and we're extending our bids. Who is the guy in the NBA that you think you would extend a bid to?
So I like, sometimes these under the radar guys and guys with a little bit of something that you wouldn't necessarily get out of all of the other guys that are pledging. And I think that's CJ McCollum. And I know you're going to love that name.
That's my boy, Big Mike.
Oh, yeah.
That was the right guy.
CJ McCollum getting a bid from Team Morale. We've been, passing out a lot of bids. CJ is another guy on the list that's just going to be super fun. He's a super funny guy. He's really outspoken on Twitter and just kind of hilarious.
And a very good speaker. He's going to be in the media. Like post NBA career, he'll definitely be on TV somewhere. So bring us through the thought process. What brought you to CJ?
So one, like I said, I do like guys that I think should get more respect than they get. I do kind of like to find those guys and, kind of shout them out. But the thing that really caught my eye recently is that he's going to be the president of the NBA Players Association after Chris Paul. And as the CBA is going to end up coming to a close here around, I think it's the end of the 2024 season, they'll probably start negotiating that here, within the next year or two. He's going to be a really important guy. And I just think it would be super interesting to hear like his perspective of like all the backroom deals and all that stuff that's going to go on between the owners of the players.
Yeah, that is a really important role because, I mean, if it doesn't go well between the owners and the players, we could lead to another lockout. So hope my boy treats us to not a lockout season.
No pressure, CJ, but if you fuck this up, we just won't have basketball and you'll be the person we're blaming.
It will be not just Blazer fans that you're disappointing in that offseason.
But yes, CJ, super fun. Also a very good basketball player out of Lehigh, a small college. Definitely made a name for himself in the NBA. And again, a guy coming out of a small school has made quite the career.
I'm sure Professor Tom has some bitterness in his mouth with this choice. I bet he's just been low-key hated CJ's entire career because of the Lehigh upsetting Duke when they were the 15 seed thing.
Yeah, again, for those who don't know, Professor Tom, huge monumental Duke fan. And back was this 2012, I think. 2012?
I think he was drafted in 13.
So it'd be 2012.
I could look it up here real quick.
But in 2012, the Lehigh, whatever the heck's
mascots,
they're
a bird of some sort.
The Lehigh,
they're a hawk.
The Lehigh Hawks upset the Blue Devils in the first round of the NCAA tournament. A major upset. One I picked, by the way.
Really?
I picked that up in my bracket. I was very proud of myself for it. But
yes, claim to fame.
And that was in 2012. That was the 2012 tournament.
I was a sophomore in high school, and I was very proud of that moment, and it stuck with me ever since.
Yeah, I think that we could get CJ as the president of our fraternity.
CJ, not only heading up the Players Association, but more importantly, leading the charge on the team morale. Not only is he very important to the basketball players and representing them, but he leads the guys in having a good time as well.
And also, fun fact, got a bachelor's of arts in journalism. So, can always help us, spread the pod.
It's a great point. He actually has his own podcast. I should reach out to CJ McCollum. He should be on our podcast.
If we get CJ McCollum on our podcast, I swear to God.
Yeah, no, he's actually, I really like his podcast. It's called the Pull Up Pod. And it's, he does it with a guy named Jordan Schultz, who
I get it. Because
famous for a
pulls up,
yeah,
like a basketball,
pull up. Yeah,
he's not calling it the assist pod. Let's be honest.
that is not where he thrives. He does not pass a lot.
The defense pod,
the defensive pod, not by CJ McCollum. But this Jordan Schultz dude, he's an ESPN reporter. He's also the son of the guy that owns Starbucks.
What?
Yeah, fun facts, fun CJ McCollum facts for you guys.
All sorts of deep dives here on our 50th episode.
But Big Mike, thank you for joining us. Thank you for bringing CJ McCollum into the Team Morale fraternity. I couldn't be more happy about your choice.
You're welcome, Mitch.
You might be the front runner in the most fun choice so far, but we've got plenty more to come, and we'll be back yet again in a little bit with the rest of our picks. A couple more guys from Team Morale still have to join us. We still have to hear from producer Jay and ASM Edison, and then Mitch and I also have to make our picks and see who you were giving bids out to. But up next, let's talk taste. All right, Mitch, let's take a break here from these interviews and giving out bids, and let's revisit taste here for a second. Let's revisit this TX, this barrel proof 126.24% proof whiskey.
And for those of you that don't know how the proof works, the proof is 2 times the amount of the percentage of alcohol that's in it.
To me, has never made sense. Like, why don't you just say the alcoholic percentage?
Because that's not what fancy people do. They got to make up rules for things. So here's a look at it for those of you that want to see it. TX barrel proof bourbon whiskey. And this is aged 7 years, like we said earlier. It's from the 3rd batch that they ever made. And what do you think about it, Ethan? Does it taste like it's 126 proof?
It tastes like it's 126.24% proof. There is a lot of bite on this one, but it's kind of surprising. When you first sip it, it's very smooth, and then I wouldn't even say bite is the right word. It's very peppery.
Yes.
It's got a lot of spice and pepper to it. It's not as much bitey as it is just like super spicy and peppery.
Yeah, no, it definitely has the spice and the pepper in it. The way I would describe it is you sip it, right? And it's really, really smooth at first, right? and it's like it's got a lot of flavor and it tastes really good at first.
You get
then,
like some fruity like cherryness
Yes.
to it too, and then you get a little bit of like vanilla as well.
Definitely. Now, I will say I've cheated a little bit because on that same page that I was reading from earlier, it has its own tasting notes and stuff. So I'm going to wait to like say what those are. But when you drink it and then it's like a slow burn. And it's like, oh, not too bad. And it's like oh, wow. Oh, okay. This is where it's happening.
You ever take a bite of something spicy and you're like, oh, that's not bad. Oh, never mind. This was a mistake. It's kind of like that, except it's not a mistake.
So I want to throw out there, this is the type of whiskey that I personally really like. It definitely has like the burn on it, but it's like, I think that it's actually really smooth to drink and it has a lot of different flavors in it. And so I really like it. I kind of figured this would not be your cup of tea because it is on the stronger side of things.
Yes, but this is Ethan 50 episodes in of a whiskey podcast.
Yes. Not 5 ice cubes in it.
It's still not my cup of tea, but it is not as much of not my cup of tea that it was at the beginning of this podcast. That being said, this burn is a long burn.
Yeah.
Like when you swallow it, you get the burn in the back of your throat and it stays for a little while. But
it does.
It's something that I would like. It'd be really nice on like a really cold day. Pour yourself a little glass of this and it would warm you right up very easily. But the flavor actually isn't bad. Like the flavor it's very flavorful. It's very good. It's smooth at the beginning. It's very spicy on the back end.
Yes. Okay. So I wanted to preface with that because it's a very highly regarded whiskey. This is one of the most award-winning whiskeys that TX has actually produced. It got the gold in the International Spirits Challenge of 2020. And from the Ultimate Spirits Challenge 2020, it was given 92 points. So
out of 100?
Yes, out of 100. Wow. Out of 100. So keep in mind, this is like a relatively new thing for them. Like this is like a 2020 batch, and like these are like 2020 awards that they're winning right now. It is a relatively new thing, but it definitely it's supposed to be more intense, right? It's unfiltered. It's straight out of the barrel. They don't add anything to this. It is just what bourbon tastes like, and that's why it's so strong. But it definitely has some interesting flavors. Do you want to hear what so Firestone and Robertson Distilling Company is the name of the distilling company for TX whiskey.
Yeah, it's the whiskey they make is called TX whiskey or TX bourbon, but the like distillery is called Firestone and Robinson, which is like engraved on the bottle.
Yeah, it's got a really big thing on the bottle. Yeah. Okay, so from their website, here's what the tasting notes are. The nose, now take a sniff of it. Actually, when you read it and then you smell it, you get it, okay? So the nose, brown sugar, which I will say when I sniff it, I get a lot of brown sugar out of it, actually.
Yes,
I do. Right? Cinnamon, dried fig,
caramel. I don't know what that smells like.
you don't go sniffing around a lot of dried figs recently.
I do not.
Caramelized peaches and maple syrup. So a lot of honestly, those are like very similar type of like smells and flavors.
I was going to say savory. It's a lot of like sweet and savory.
Very savory. Now their palate is, here's the first one, baked cinnamon apple. Do you get it?
I get that because I was saying cherry, but I didn't think that was right. But you do get like some fruitiness to it.
Now hold on.
Oh,
toasted vanilla and dark cherry.
Oh,
you got it right.
Let's go.
You got it right, dude. Yeah, dark cherry and sugared raisins. And that's funny enough, the finish they describe as lingering.
Which is fair.
Which is not
lingers.
Not inaccurate.
I'm still feeling the first sip I took about an hour ago.
It is funny when obviously it's like you drink it and you sip it and it's like you try to just use your palate to try to find these different flavors. It's a whole different thing than when you read what it's supposed to taste like.
And then you can pick out like you go in expecting
you're looking for, it's like, oh, I smell brown sugar. Oh, okay. I taste the vanilla. I taste the cherry. It's like, it's a totally different experience. So for those of you who haven't done that, I would try getting a whiskey, sipping it, and then Googling what the other people taste and what it's supposed to have in it and see if you can pick out those flavors, because that actually helps develop your palate quite a bit.
What people who get paid to taste whiskey and then talk about it
whiskey sommeliers.
All right. Well, I think that's wraps up us talking about the flavor of the whiskey. Let's jump right back into these interviews, and we're going to be talking to producer Jay next. So let's welcome in producer Jay.
And now on the podcast, we got producer Jay. Jay,
Hey
well,
guys.
happy to have you here, man.
Dude, good to be here. Happy to be here. I think I lived with Ethan for about a year and made one appearance on the podcast, and now I've lived with him without him for like a month, and I'm making the appearance on the podcast. So
Are you
happy
just
to be
lost?
here.
Are you just lost without Ethan as your roommate right now?
No, to be honest, it's more of I'm lost without Carl. Having to actually vacuum my apartment's been brutal.
So for our listeners, Carl was the name of the Roomba that I own that hung out in our apartment and got stuck in every willing opportunity that he could get stuck in. But he's still kicking over here. He's back behind me in the hallway and still chugging along, getting stuck on.
He's got a girlfriend now.
Everything he has. Yes.
Carl has a girlfriend.
So my
Wow.
girl I live
He's
with
doing better than I am.
also had a Roomba. And so now we have two Roombas, Carl and Susie, and they're out there just, doing their thing,
just
hanging out, cleaning shit.
sucking it up.
Wow.
We went downhill fast here.
But Jay is a big member of Team Morale. He is pretty involved behind the scenes. When Mitch and I would come up with concepts, we'd usually run them by Jay, and then he would not only be a fact checker, but be a like, "Hey, that's a terrible idea, guys," type of guy, which is good because
We needed that. We
Yeah,
still need that.
we still need that. If you haven't listened to the podcast in a while, Jay, some of the stuff has gone off the walls. But happy to have you back. Definitely looking forward to have you on several more pods. We are giving out bids today. Who are you giving your bid out to?
I'm giving my bid out to Kenny Hustle from TCU.
Kenrich Williams, our boy.
Kenrich Williams.
Our boy.
Key player for the Oklahoma City Thunder, found his role, grinded, worked hard. Remind me of this podcast. I've seen how hard and how much work you guys have put in on your end. Reminded me of Kenny Hustle. I feel like he embodies what this podcast is about. He made it to the big time. He's thriving now, and you guys are about to follow that lead.
I love it. I love it. Not only is he patting us on the back, but Kenny Hustle, a great basketball player, a fun guy, one of the weirdest haircuts I've ever seen.
Oh, the what is the ducktail?
The reverse
It's
mullet.
It's like the ducktail or something like that. Was it you? Somebody?
Yes.
Yeah.
I talked to him one time when we were in school, and he was telling me that he has this weird like poof on the back of his head, and he has it so that when he wears a hat, his hair looks cool. And I didn't have it in me to tell him, I was like, dude, you play basketball on television like twice a week without a hat on. Like
in front of like thousands of people.
Yeah, I don't understand how to tell you this.
It's
But,
not a good look.
Kenrich Williams, actually a decent basketball player now in the NBA, to the point where when the Thunder went into full tankathon mode, Kenrich Williams conveniently got hurt and missed the last like 30 games of the year.
I heard a rumor that during the trade deadline, there was a lot of trades being thrown out there from the Thunder. And like one of the things that they were like not moving on was like Kenny Hustle cannot be in the trade. Like he's not just a throw-in piece. He's a guy for us. I love that.
Think how hard it is nowadays to find, like, what is he, 6'7", find a wing that wants to play defense, do the nitty gritty, and can hit threes. That's like an ideal role player in the NBA now. And Kenny fits all of those. So
yeah, coming out of TCU, the ultimate glue guy, bet on himself, could have been a second round pick and was offered, teams like, hey, we'll take in the second round and give you like a 2-way deal, where he's splitting time between the G League and the NBA. And he said, no, don't draft me. I won't sign that. I want to go undrafted and fight to be a full NBA player. And he bet on himself and he made it. And now he's in the NBA. He signed a 3-year deal with the Thunder. He got the elusive second contract for guys like him who are like grinding and just trying to get into the NBA. That second contract is huge. And he was able to lock it down. And now he's got a role in the NBA, and he's part of a fun young core over in Oklahoma City.
I'm so happy that you chose Kenny Hustle.
dude, I love him.
I'm like smiling ear to ear over here.
Outside the NBA, I think he brought us, at least for me, he brought me my favorite TCU basketball memories too. When he led us to the NIT championship, still one of the greatest things. So,
and that's what TCU basketball is, guys. We said NIT championship.
Like, there's a level to these things, okay? We're not Duke. We know that we're not going to be disappointed with a 5 seed. We're going to be amped up that we made the NIT.
We would be stoked with a 16 seed. But Jay, absolutely awesome to have you on. We'll definitely have you on many more podcasts to come. Super excited to hear about Kenny Hustle. Honestly, great pick. I think that might be my favorite pick so far.
Yeah, dude, I love that.
Suck it, Tom.
Suck it, Tom. It's nice to have a TCU alum here in Team Morale with us. You gotta get the homeboys, right?
Yeah, we have a decent amount of them, but
we got a lot of us, but
a lot of us. Yeah, so TCU, a fellow TCU alum getting a bid. We'll see if he accepts. I would say of the NBA players, he might have the most chance of accepting, given he's not a star. But
he might actually listen to this.
Hustle, give us a listen. Why not?
Producer Jay, thank you so much for being on the pod with us. Thank you for being a part of the Team Morale, story so far through our first 50 episodes. You're, involved in a lot of them behind the scenes with us.
Well, yeah, guys, congrats on 50. You guys are growing and growing. I made it a staple of something I listen to now that I don't get your basketball takes every day, and I appreciate it. Love you guys.
Love you too, Jay. Thanks, man.
Bye.
And now we have ASM Edison joining us on the podcast. Welcome, Edison. You just moved to Phoenix, Arizona, joining the Cronkite Broadcast School, which is big moves from people in the broadcast world from our neck of the woods, and just big moves being made by ASM Edison over there.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Glad to be a part of your 50th episode. I am, a day moved in. I moved in on Monday. We're recording this on Tuesday. And it is hot. I was welcomed to downtown Phoenix with 105-degree temperature at about 11 in the morning when I got there. And by 11 at night, when I was just about settled in, a monsoon came in. So welcome to Phoenix.
Yeah, that's a nice little welcome there. Well, congratulations on getting to the school, man. That's awesome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Team Morale members making plays. So
hey, it's the team morale boost, like when you come on, good things happen. So
well, speaking of Team Morale members, you are the last person that we need to hear about who you're giving your invitation to. Who in the NBA do you want to extend an invitation to Team Morale?
I believe I sent out the invitation already, but something tells me that Mitch might have intercepted it because my invitation was to Russell Westbrook.
What? What?
So, yes, my invitation is to Russell Westbrook for a few reasons. The first and foremost being, on a podcast or on anything that you're creating content for, you want someone who is going to give you content, but also speak their mind. And Russell Westbrook is one of the most outspoken people in the NBA. He doesn't really have a filter on too many things, or even when he does, he doesn't hide it very well. All the clips of that's pretty interesting. He very much is one to speak his mind. He's not one to hold back on too many things. And when you're creating content, you need someone like that. So I think he's a great fit just for that reason alone.
Well, I will say, I guess it's nice to have a try-hard on our team. That's
I had to literally grab Mitch and keep him from leaving. He just wanted to leave.
If I get a black... so Mitch is using now. So I am guessing that came to your mind because he's now with the Lakers.
It definitely helps. I've loved Russell Westbrook. I know I am now, a Sun Devil, but I've always been a Bruin, and I've followed Russell Westbrook for a long time. I've always liked him. And he's a guy who does it all on the court, and he does a little bit of everything off the court. You need other segments to fill. How about a fashion segment with Russell Westbrook? Come on. You have content for days off the court as well as you do on the court. I can't think of anybody better in the NBA today than Russell Westbrook to be your third co-host.
So we've been talking about it, and we were trying to explain. It was like, this is the squad that we're rolling to Vegas with. Like we're rolling. Imagine Russell Westbrook dressing
Dude,
all of us as
Russell Westbrook's going to have us all kidded. All kidded. We are all going to be to the nines, maybe in some fashion that we don't understand. I mean, I won't speak for you two, but me, myself, I am most comfortable in a t-shirt and some shorts, and this man gets very experimental with his fashion. So maybe some things that we'll get on the hanger, like, hey, I got it for you. Just throw it on. We're rolling out to the Aria here in about 5 minutes. And we're looking on the hanger, and it's like a designer knapsack and some jeans that are ripped mostly like from the knee down, and like 3 sizes too big fedora. And we're just looking at it like, what? I mean, okay, like, sure, whatever. Like, but at the end, it all works out, right? So I would be very down.
All of us are getting really cool fits, and then Mitch is just getting one that says Scrooge on it.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
He's gonna force me to wear one of those like construction vests.
Construction vest.
Yeah, it can be
Yes.
yellow and gold or yellow and purple.
Oh,
Hey, purple and gold. Purple and gold.
Russell Westbrook is a great pick, a super fun addition to the team morale fraternity, I guess. Mitch is very quiet over here.
I have opinions, and I respect your opinion, ASM Edison. So we send the invitation because I trust you enough.
Hey, you know who else has opinions? Russell Westbrook.
Russell Westbrook.
So,
Yeah, he's
And
not
his-
afraid to tell anyone.
He has
to
opinions
fuck
about
off.
one Damian Lillard that Mitch might not appreciate much.
Yeah, we're gonna have some issues. We're gonna have some issues.
What's friends without some fighting?
That's
What's
a
group
good
of
point.
friends?
oh, of course.
A little infighting is always good.
Hey, it motivates you. It gets the job done. I mean, Kobe and Shaq, they weren't best of friends all the time.
Gets the juices going.
Absolutely. Well, thank you
Exactly.
for joining us on the pod today. We really appreciate it. Wouldn't be the 50th episode without you. And can't wait to see where you go after Cronkite. It's going to be awesome.
Hey, well, again, guys, thanks for having me back on. It's always a lot of fun, and for considering me to be someone you felt you needed to bring back for episode number 50. I can't wait to be back on more, and we'll see you in episode 100 again, right?
Well, thank you, Edison, for joining us on the podcast today. Wouldn't be the 50th episode without you. Super excited to have you on, and can't wait to have you on for many more podcasts. Coming up next, Mitch and I make our picks and give out our invitations to the Team Morale Fraternity.
Welly, I think it's our turn.
Did you say Well-E or Willie?
Willie. No, Well-E. I think that it's finally our turn to extend our bids into the fraternity that is Team Morale.
Yeah, you guys have heard from all the other members of Team Morale. You guys have heard from Professor Tom, Girl Daddy B, Big Mike, Producer Jay, and ASM Edison, all of them giving out their bids, giving out their invitations to players in the NBA who just embody Team Morale and are like fun guys that would be, good members of Team Morale. And now I think it's our turn.
I do think it's our turn. Would you like to go first?
No, you got it.
I go first? Yeah. Okay. Now, off gut instinct, I wanted to do Damian Lillard. But I'm
sure you did.
I thought that would be a bit of a basic ass bitch move. So, as Dame, you know that if you asked me, you could be in Team Morale, man.
You're addressing Dame.
Yeah, Damian Lillard. Come and talk to me personally, and I could see that you get into the Team Morale. But I want to kind of go off the wall a little bit, find somebody that maybe others wouldn't have thought of. I went to the old Kyle Lowry, Thickums, thicker than a Snicker. Kyle Lowry,
The guy with the biggest badonkadonk
yes.
in NBA history. That guy's got some cheeks.
You know what's funny is because I was originally thinking Blazers, right? Because that's like that's where my brain goes. I'm actually wearing the hat right now. And then I was like the counterpart for the Blazers. That's like the Eastern Conference Blazers, and it's like on like social media, like we're like best friends. is the Toronto Raptors. And I was like, oh, Kyle Lowry, that's my boy. I love Kyle Lowry. I love everything about Kyle Lowry. He thrived in a role where he was a star, took his team to an Eastern Conference championship. Then Kawhi showed up and he thrived being a role player behind him and Pascal Siakam. Whatever it takes, he's happy to do it. He thrives in whatever role you give him. And that is the essence of team morale is to me. Having a good attitude no matter what for the sake of the team to do what you need to do.
Not only that, one of the biggest pranksters out there as well. Just hit the shenanigans that went down between him and DeMar DeRozan and their lovable feud / brotherly love and the whole bromance that they had was not only amazing but just must see television. If you ever have some time, YouTube just Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan messing with each other, and you will not be able to contain your laughter.
Kyle Lowry is just like he's my guy. He's been my guy in the NBA. I feel like he's just so lovable. He's just like lovable.
Hilarious.
He's hilarious.
He's hilarious.
Dude, it's like who else goes to the All-Star game and prides themselves on how many charges they take?
Kyle Lowry does.
That Kyle Lowry does. And so that's why that's my guy. I love everything about Kyle Lowry. Total team morale guy. That's who I'm extending my invitation to.
A quality option there.
Quality individual.
Yes, not a great guy, but also like you're not wasting your bid there. That's a good invitation to throw out. I'm very excited to announce my guy. I know you didn't want to be a homer. I was a bit. But I don't think anyone's going to fault me when I say that I am offering a bid to you rang Boban Marjanovic. Get your super tall ass over here and take our bid to team morale.
Arguably the most lovable player in the entire NBA.
And naturally, he would slide right in and just be the most lovable member of team morale. The fact that when he did the TNT interview and he did the big heart thing with his hands.
Yeah.
The Mavericks now do that for their home games. They do Boban heart cam. And all the fans do this with their arms. Yeah.
It kind of hurts my shoulder doing this. I don't have the arm length designed. It doesn't make a full heart.
I mean, what doesn't scream team morale about being a badass basketball player, a hilarious individual, the most loved player in the NBA, but also a star of a John Wick movie?
Oh yeah, no, he's like a five talent kind of guy. Like he can do everything. He could, if he went and did stand up at some comedy store in Dallas, I would be there watching.
The guy could
he can do everything.
Like the guy could literally do anything.
I bet he can
people
sing
would watch.
and dance.
I mean, so Mavs fans know, but Luka signed his giant extension a couple days ago, and there was pictures of Luka partying afterwards, and of course Boban was right next to him, and Luka and Boban both looked just absolutely blitzed, just hanging out. And then it got me thinking. I was like, how much alcohol would it take to get the man as big as Boban drunk? And then I went down the rabbit hole of what does a beer bottle look like in Boban's hand?
What is a shot glass?
I was about to say. Then I went down and I was like, what does a shot glass look in a guy's hand who is so big that he just holds a basketball like a baseball?
It's like us like holding a pencil sort of thing. He's holding a shot glass like his like just like index and thumb, just like barely grabbing it. He has to be very gentle with it, I bet.
Ugh.
It's a gentle giant, though.
Absolute gentle giant. Like one of the best locker room players in the NBA. Every team he's been on, his teammates have raved about how good of a person, how good of a teammate he is. He's not a guy that plays every night, and he knows that. But he is also a guy that just buys into his teammates and is their number one cheerleader and supporter. The whole Bobby and Toby thing, the fact that never became a sitcom is just a tragedy. And just
I hope they get together again.
Get to be reunited. Absolutely. Boban Marjanovic and then Tobias Harris were teammates on the Clippers and then on the 76ers, and they were best friends, and just very similar to Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, just always annoying and picking on each other. And it's hilarious. And then actually it went kind of viral in the bubble. Tobias Harris went viral for being jealous of Boban's relationship with Luka. There was a video of he was like in his hotel room and he was like filming Boban and Luka fishing off a dock out his window, and he's like, this guy has replaced me. and he was all mad about it. And then Boban like subtweeted it with like a little heart, and he was like, "Love you, dude." Just like, oh, that's just Boban, man.
Dude, I think legitimately Boban has extended his career by several years just by being like a fantastic human being.
Just by being big and nice.
Yeah, like he's gigantic and really nice, like a great like locker room dude. He probably should have like not been in the NBA like 3 or 4 years ago, but he's still making money because he's just like a good dude and he's gigantic. Which helps.
I mean, being 7'4" doesn't hurt, but also being super nice and a great guy is awesome. And he signed a 2-year extension this offseason. He's making $7 million.
And if that's not a team morale vibe, just being on the team because you're a good dude, then I don't know what is.
And so that is why I'm giving my bid to Boban Marjanovic. Hopefully I don't get too much flack for picking a guy from my hometown team, but I hope everyone understands that is not because he's a Maverick, but because Boban is a great person and should be in team morale.
No, I think that that's a great choice. You know, I'm feeling really good about our incoming class.
Yeah, it's going to be a great group of guys, a great fun group, and we cannot wait to get to our 100th episode so we can invite another class coming in.
Honestly, that could be a great every 50 episodes. We'll just have a new class of guys.
50 episodes.
Yeah, we're pre-planning for our next 50th.
And so super excited. Thank you to all of the other members of Team Morale for jumping on and doing their segments with us. This was a lot of moving parts. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the 50th episode. TX Whiskey, a little, flashback to the past to our first episode, bringing it back again and going with the barrel proof, which
I made sure we got good and drunk for this one.
Absolutely fun. Mitch, it's been fun. 50 episodes in. It's been a great time. Hopefully many, many, many more to go. We'll invite many more classes and have guys coming in every 50 episodes. And cheers, man. 50 episodes down to many more.
Yeah, cheers.